So this is new. This is the brand new Penguin Pro 375 made by Marineland. It just came out of the market. We're going to unbox it today, take a look at some of its cool features, so stay tuned. So some of you may be aware we recently unboxed a Marineland Emperor Pro 450, and that filter has been running on a couple of tanks for us and it's been running very well. I'm excited to unbox this and take a look at it because the Emperor and the Penguin Pro series share a lot of similar features. So let's go ahead, let's get into the unboxing here. Let's take a closer look at it. Now this comes with directions that we're not going to need because you're watching this video. Now we lift it out. Now there's a lot of cool things. The old version of this filter was a Marineland Penguin 350. So this is going to have a little bit more flow through. Let's go ahead, get rid of the box. And so here we have the filter. Now you can see here a couple of changes compared to the Marineland Penguin, the old 350s, and there's some very important changes here. So if you've used the Marineland Penguin 350s in the past, like, yeah, maybe you didn't like it, maybe you did. This one here is quite different than what you may have experienced in the past. So for one of the things I've liked about Marineland filters in general is this nice slim profile. And the reason I like that so much is I want this to get on the back of the tank and be able to put the back of the tank close to the wall. And with some of the other filters on the market, the box, the media basket is just too wide to do that. So I like this because of that nice, thin, narrow profile. The other thing that's new to the Penguin series is this. The lid is now hinged. And so no more taking the lid off and having to find a place to put your wet lid. So here, this thing is hinged. It makes maintenance a lot easier. This is also available on the Emperor line, and we found it to be very, very convenient. Now, just like we're used to seeing with both the Emperor and the Penguin series, we do have the bio wheels here. Now, one of the complaints in the past has been the bio wheels don't always spin, and I've said this a number of times with this series of filters, I really don't care. These filters, these bio wheels are great. The idea here is that you get beneficial bacteria on these wheels. The wheels are constantly staying wet and we're getting a lot of oxygen, so they should do a really good job of doing the nitrification process, ammonia to nitrite, nitrite to nitrate. Now the design here is a little bit different, so I expect that these wheels are probably going to spin a little bit better. Now when you compare this to the Emperor Pro, the one thing that's going to be missing are the spray bars on here to really help these bio wheels turn. But like I said, because of this newer design, I anticipate these things are going to spin just fine. One of the other interesting things that has been added to this Pro series line that wasn't in the previous Penguin series, and that is this adjustable flow dial. So you can see here, let me bring it a little closer. You can see here we've got this dial, and that's going to allow us to get up to 375 gallons per hour through this filter. But I've also found, at least on the Emperor side of things, you can turn this flow down quite a bit. So if you've got to put this on a smaller tank, you're not blowing your fish all around the tank. And in fact, this filter, as we're going to see in a few moments, is going to go on a 40-gallon breeder that has got lots and lots of bristlenose plecos. So this tank is very heavily stocked. They produce a lot of waste. So this filter is going to get its work cut out for it. Now, as we continue to go through the unboxing, you will see that they come with these. These are the cartridges. There's one on each side, along with some other stuff. Now for these, I've said this before in other filter videos, I don't tend to use these cartridges. What I usually do is I will buy filter floss in bulk and then cut that filter floss to fit. I will put a video in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description below that kind of shows you how we do that. Other things in this filter compartment when we're unboxing it, we've got the intake. Now, oop, that was really loud. The interesting thing about that is these intakes now are expandable. So you can go ahead, as soon as I find out, there it is, the expandable side, and so you can just go ahead and you can continue to pull this thing out. So if you've got a taller tank, like maybe a 75 or a 55, you can expand this thing all the way and it's going to get further down and take water further down in the water column. If you've got a shorter tank, like for us, we've got a 40-gallon breeder this is going on, we can shorten this up a little bit and not have any problems worrying about sucking sand in through the filter itself. So we've got the intake there. We also have this is the intake guard. Interesting, and I noticed this on the Emperor side of the line, this actually comes apart. So if you get this and you unbox it and this thing is in two pieces, of course now it's not going to come apart now that I want it to, let's go ahead, there we go. And so this comes apart, and I think the idea here is that if we wanted to put some filter floss in here, we could do that, maybe catch some of the stuff. Almost sort of kind of serves like a pre-filter sponge in a way. So this does actually come apart, so if that happens, it's supposed to. And then the last thing in here, over here on this side, is we've got this piece here, and this is going to attach closer to where the pump is. And just like the older series, we have the ability to take water closer to the surface. So you can, not only do you take it further down in the water column, but closer to the surface as well if you don't want that. And I typically don't use this feature. This slides right over and it will block the water so that it comes from the bottom only. Okay, so that's what we've got going on here. Again, adjustable flow is pretty cool. The biggest change, and I think the most important change when it comes to the Marineland filters, is this. And that is the pump is now located inside the tank, which makes these filters extraordinarily quiet. So when we did the review on the Marineland Emperor Pro 450, like I said, we've been using those filters now for a little while, and I have yet to hear this filter. I constantly have to go back, and as I'm walking by the tank, I just kind of peek in, make sure the water's still running because it makes absolutely zero noise. I expect this to do the same, and those internal filters, when they're actually in the tank, the pumps make all the difference in the world when it comes to noise. It is by far the quietest filter that we've had so far. Those big Emperor 450s are pushing 450 gallons of water through our 150 gallon tank and a couple of 125s without any noise whatsoever. So assembling this thing is really easy. Again, we've got the pump right here. All we have to do, if I put this contraption down, we've got this part here. This is going to go right on the intake pump. Again, this is what's going to allow us to pull water from the top. So we just snap this thing right into place, just like that. And then we have the intake itself. And again, this is adjustable. This will go on, snap on here. And then finally we have this, and this just snaps on to the bottom. And so then what we have is our filter. All we have to do, let me go ahead and shorten this up a little bit. All we have to do at this point is go ahead and put this on the tank. We'll get the media in. And again, what I'm going to do now, this particular tank is not planted, so I'm going to go ahead and use the cartridges that are provided. If you had a planted tank, there is carbon in these cartridges. So usually at that point, I will just put filter floss in the hang-on back filter because I don't want carbon having an impact on the plant's nutrients. Now, one of the other things I did want to mention, and there are a lot of accessories that are coming with this new Pro Series. Some of them have been around for a little while, but these new Pro Series makes it a little bit easier to use these accessories. So for instance, there is this ammonia reducing resin. A lot of people ask, hey, what do I do if I've got ammonia in the tank, there's an emergency, or maybe it's coming out of your tap water when you do water changes. This is something that you can use, and what's interesting about it is now they've got, of course, the filter bags. You can put the ammonia reducing resin in these filter bags. They also have biomedia that you can stick in here and just throw this in the back of the compartment for the filtration. The other thing that they have are these, and this is really cool, an intake filter, a pre-filter sponge. And so the basket that I showed you on the bottom, you can just pull that off, slip this on instead. And we've been using this in a couple of our tanks and really like it because it traps a lot of the gunk and it actually makes your filter media that's in the basket last a lot longer. So I highly recommend, I would definitely check out these pre-filter sponges for these filters. It just makes life so much easier. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna plug this thing in. The nice thing about this filter is it is self-priming because the pump is in the tank. So the back was not filled up, and here we go. The water's coming through, and our bio wheels are spinning. We've just got the 2 cartridges that came with the filter in here right now. Again, as you can see, I've got the microphone right up on this filter, and it's very, very quiet. There is virtually no noise, and it's a big difference because the old Marinelands, I really like them. And I thought they were a decently quiet filter, but there was a little bit of noise. You can see here, as I mentioned, it looks like they redid the returns, and so these bio wheels are spinning much more efficiently, which is pretty cool. So this is what the inside of the tank looks like. There is a lot of water flow coming through here at 375 gallons an hour, so it's stirred up a lot of stuff. And I expect what's going to happen over the course of the next hour or two, most of the stuff that you see in the water column is going to get caught up in the filter media, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to go ahead, we'll check back in a couple hours and see how this tank is looking. All right, everyone, sorry for the glare and the noise. This is about 2 hours after we installed the filter. It's looking good. The tank is cleared up very, very nicely. Again, this is a very heavily stocked tank with all these bristlenose plecos in here. This is a bristlenose pleco breeding tank. I think this filter is going to do a great job. It is definitely going to have its work cut out for it with all the heavy stocking and the amount of sand and waste that these fish kick up and the amount of waste that they produce, but very happy with what I am seeing so far. All right, so final thoughts. I think this is going to be a great filter. I really think the direction that hang-on back filters are going is to have that pump that is submerged in the water to drastically cut down on noise. And for me personally, I would probably at this point only pick a hang-on back filter that has that feature, just because there are some out there that are really good that have this feature. Reliability, we're going to have to wait and see. I will do an update video in 6 months or maybe 12 months and check back and see how this thing is doing. But I can say the Penguin 350s that we've had in our fish room have been running for many, many, many years, problem-free. So I expect that this will do the same. But like I said, we're going to be doing some updates later on. One quick note, in order to get this to go into the 40-gallon breeder, I had to take off that top part where you have the skimmer at the top, just because otherwise the intake was too long and it was sticking in the sand. We didn't want that to happen. So I did take this little part off, and now it's running perfectly. It fits really well. Now, we've done a lot of filtration videos. I will put those in the upper right-hand corner as well as in the description below if you want to have more options, more reviews for hang-on-the-back filters. So if you enjoyed this video, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.